welcome. Welcome to the Rev Mel Show on TSRnetwork.com, where real people talk about real sex with real kinky people. Welcome, everybody. I hope that you're going to enjoy this show. This is a one-on-one with Rev Mel. You're probably wondering why I'm doing a one-on-one, because I always have guests on my show, but I would like to give an opportunity for some of the people that watch our shows to be able to slam me with some great questions. I mean, will you feel free to say anything, do anything that you wish. Please let your friends all know that we are live and that we are rolling. So just take and tweet it all out there, all the crazy things that we're saying. So I'm going to really enjoy this show. And I'm wondering, how is the audio and the video? Anyone out there? Let me know how the audio and video. Well, welcome to TSRnetwork.com, where real people talk about real sex with real kinky, crazy people. So I just had the thought of doing a show without having a guest to see if I could talk for an hour. And as people know, that I've been able to talk for an hour without having any problems. And this is going to be kind of an interesting little test to see how many people know how to ask me these questions. So we start to have people that are watching. There are people that are watching that are not in the chat room. Please come into the chat room. Get your questions ready. Pig Carey says, great here. So Pig Carey can watch the show and hearing the show. I guess the audio and the video is great. Okay. Art Miller. Ooh, Art Miller. Hello, Art Miller. Art Miller says it's excellent. Excelente. It's absolutely wonderful. So March 8th, we're having a TSR Network fundraiser. Basically, the Lear Assad has given me the first Sunday of each month to have a party. Woo, woo, woo. And all the proceeds go to TSR Network. So he's going to make me work for it. So he's now our sponsor. The Lear Assad is now our sponsor of our show. So they're sponsoring everything. I mean, they're giving me the whole take-in, which is fabulous, and I'm really glad. So there are people that are watching the show. There are more people that are coming in. I can see the viewers starting to increase. So let's get the show on the road. If you're watching the show, please tweet this out to your friends on Twitter, Facebook, and on FetLife. Let them know to come in and to tear me apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up for questions. Now, remember, there's a little bit of a lag, and as you guys know and have watched our show, you do understand that sometimes takes us a little time to answer the questions because of the lag. But for the people that don't know me, I grew up in St. Clair Shores, Michigan, way back many moons ago, just north of Detroit, just north of Grosse Pointe, one of the wealthiest cities in the country. Not St. Clair Shores, but Grosse Pointe was. I hated the winter, middle-class family, two brothers, one sister, a father, and a mother. We were the poster family of the 1950s. Yes, and there's more people that are watching. Come on into the chat room if you want to lambear me with questions, because questions are really important, because this is your opportunity for you to ask me anything, from when I lost my virginity to the last time I had sex to have I ever blanked a donkey? I mean, anything that you guys want to know, just ask me. Or anything about BDSM. Ask we can pick topics in the chat room. It doesn't matter. But, and next week we're going to have, I'm really excited, we're going to have Charles and Charlotte is going to be on my show up in San Francisco. I love what they do, the postings that they put on FetLife. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Some of their philosophy on BDSM. I think that they are educators, and I've known Charlotte for a very long time, and she's absolutely an amazing woman, and I'm looking forward to interviewing the both of them. It should be a lot of fun and very informative, because TSR Network is all about education. Art Miller says, I'd like to understand more the negotiations on conditions and terms, especially when you're new. That is an awesome question, Art Miller. There's each person, each dominant that's going to be doing negotiation has their own technique and their own way to do it. But you've got to ask them the basic things in negotiations. Because the first thing is that you want to keep your submissive safe, or your slave or your bottom, and you want as a dominant top or master or mistress, you also want to keep yourself safe. So it's Miss Julie wants, I'll get to that question in a second, Miss Julie. That was the funny question. I should have brought it out. But in negotiations, I like to start out to ask if there's any health issues that I know. It's very important. What I like people to do, I think it's a really good thing if we would carry around the little cards in our purse that has all of our medical, drugs that we take, our doctors, an emergency phone call, if anything happens that we can call someone in the family. I think it's really important that we have all of this information there. A lot of people don't use it, but I do like to have that filled out so I can know, and I can give it back to the person so they can keep it. They can put it back in their purse, and the next time they negotiate, they can give their medical records that somebody knows it's in their purse or their pocket or their wallet. So in case there's a problem. So you ask medical issues, because let's say you like to do knife play, and you love knife play, and the person that you're playing with is a hemophiliac, and they bleed. And if you don't know that, and you do any cutting or any piercing, you will end up probably a hospital trip. So you ask those questions. You ask the questions if they have any broken arms or recently or broken legs, or any of their joints have been broken, because if you're going to do rope or bondage or put cuffs on them, you want to make sure that they're physically able to take it. You ask if they have any blood diseases, such as HIV or Hep C. And it's very important to ask these questions, because Hep C is a really dangerous disease. A lot of people really don't realize how dangerous it is, but Hep C can stay on the surface for a very, very long time, and it's a silent killer. I mean, it will basically, one day you'll be fine, the next day that you'll be very sick, and you don't know you're carrying it until you have been tested for it. And I like to teach this in my class. I always ask how many people have been tested for Hep C, and it's really amazing on how many people have not been tested for Hep C. So ask those questions. Make sure, find out what their health issues are. Find out if they're diabetic. Find out if they don't like to be put into small places. Find out if there's anything that has happened in their past that might trigger something in a negative way. Because a lot of times people won't be honest if they've had abuse or if they've had trauma. And we have Entropy, who's just walked into the room. Art Miller's in the room. Miss Julie's in the room. Pig Carrie is in the room. Hello, everybody. And more people are coming in. So this is the time to get all your questions out just to ask me. I hope you guys I should have popped some popcorn, but then I would be eating all night and I wouldn't be able to talk. But if you're sharing popcorn, it's great. I hope that there's people that have a few people at their house and they're watching this on their big screen. So as far as negotiations, Art Miller is concerned, you also want to negotiate their limits. Do they, what don't they do? Do they do blood play? Do they do knife play? Do they like flogging? Do they like paddles? Do they like to be touched sexually? All of these things are to be negotiated and talked about, because communication is the key to negotiations and is the key to safe play. So you ask these questions. What I like to do is I like to bring out my toys, and I like them to pick, and I tell them just to rate on a 1 to 10 how much they like, let's say, a certain paddle or a certain flogger. And if they say they like it a 3, but they still pick it, then I know that I really can't hit them very hard with it, because it's something that they might not enjoy. Because yes, we will hurt you, but we will never harm you. So these are some of the things that you do in negotiations. And as a newbie, it's okay. It's okay if you're submissive, slave, or bottom to ask questions back. Ask them questions. Ask them, how they play or what they like or what they don't like. My hard limits are scat, piss, children, animals. I don't do any of those. The only time I'll do anything with blood is if I am blood compatible with someone, if we've had tested and we found out that our bloods are okay. I think that that's okay. But it's really important to ask as many questions, because you want that play to be successful. You want it to be fun between the both of you. So when you ask these questions, make sure that you really are sincere with your questions and open with them. And submissives, always, submissives, bottoms, or slaves, always have your voice. Never lose your voice to anyone. That is your power. Negotiate your your safe word. And if anyone doesn't know what a safe word is, a safe word is it's a word that will stop the scene, and that gives you, the submissive slave or bottom, the power to stop that scene. You have the power to do that whenever you wish. Yellow is a term that you use, like you can do green, yellow, and red. In the dungeons, they normally use green, yellow, and red. And there are people that do not use safe words. But if someone that you're going to play with does not use a safe word, I would suggest that you get to know them first. You get to watch them play. And you make sure that you are both on the same page. It's really important. Never lose your voice. It is what will keep you from being harmed. So you can negotiate the time and the place and all sorts of stuff. So negotiations, everybody does it a little bit differently. But to have a successful play, it is good to negotiate. And I negotiate with everyone that I play with. In fact, well, I didn't on Saturday night. I did a spontaneous thing on Saturday night. A wonderful friend of mine, Ellie, she, wanted to play with me. And I said, I told her I would play with her one day. And I'm hearing a phone. I think that's my phone way over there, but it can ring. So I grabbed her by her hair. I pulled her on a bench and I spanked her and did a short little scene with her. But I understand it lasted about a half an hour. I thought it was only a couple minutes. And I didn't negotiate. And she just finished doing a scene with another mistress. So they said that she was already warmed up. So I figured that it was okay. And her and I are friends, and we talked about it. So negotiate with everyone. So Art Miller, I hope that answered one of your questions. I hope that that you know a little bit about negotiations a little bit more. And if I have not touched on the things that you really wanted to talk about in negotiations, please feel to write it in the chat room. And if you're not in the chat room, please come into the chat room where you can get your questions out. Now, Miss Julie, now get your questions up there because this one's probably going to be really quick. Ready? Miss Julie wants to know how big my cock is. Well, which one? I have many of them. I mean, I have, I have pink ones, I have black ones, I have, tan ones, I have all different size ones. I have some that are huge, some that are little, but I don't use them on myself. I don't do self-penetration. I know, Miss Julie's probably going, what? I mean, this is a time for you guys to ask me any question, and I will be frank and honest and tell you the truth. Yeah, I don't really use the cocks on me. I only, Miss Julie's laughing. My cocks are only used on other people. And the really big, huge black one was given to me on BDSM Pride Day. A friend of mine was on our show on our first BDSM Pride Day, and we did a 7-hour live award show, and she presented it to me, and it was hysterical. I mean, it's this huge. It's about, I don't know, like huge. I don't know if anybody, and I think people are able to use it. I don't know how. It would be like birthing a baby. It is gigantic. But yeah, those are how big my cocks are. So we have another question from Pig Carrie. Any advice or suggestion on how to get back into the scene after a long hiatus, especially after losing a loved one? My father recently passed, and I'm in a bit of depressed mood. Glad that you asked that question, Pig Carrie. I understand loss. I understand losing, people. I'm not talking about losing your life and dying, but I understand how depression can set in and how hard it is to let go of that pain. It is a really difficult process to go through when you're depressed. try to get a little, and I know it's really hard up in Seattle. There's not a lot of sun, but try to get some sun, try to get out, mingle with other people, get yourself out, go to a play party. Even if you just have to sit there, hold someone's hand, force yourself to do this. I too suffer from depression. Yes, last week I did not have a show. And everyone was probably wondering, where's Rev Mel? But I also suffer from depression. My mother suffered from depression. It runs in my family. And I have to really work hard at not being depressed. And I fight it. And my depressions can get really, really deep and really bad. So my heart goes out to you, Pig Carrie, because I do understand that, when you go through a hard loss, like you have just gone through with losing your father, that it can be extremely painful. But I do think that getting out to a munch, to a class, getting out with your friends to go to a dungeon and a play party, and kind of getting back to some of your old routine might be pretty helpful. You don't have to do it all today. And please remember something. Depression is something that many of us go through. I mean, there's submissives that go through it after they've done a scene and they go into their sub drop. There's DOMs that go through their DOM drop afterwards, and it causes a slight depression. But when you lose someone that you love, it is really difficult. But one of the things that you need to look at is that he is no longer in pain, and he is safe where he's at. Whatever you believe in. I don't push religion. I don't push heaven or hell or any of these things on anybody. But I know there's more. There's something there. There's something in this universe that is marvelous and tremendous. And I think that how we live our life here on earth is really important. And one of the things that you have, Pig Carrie, you have compassion and kindness. You treat everyone with respect. You are sweet and kind to everyone. And that is important. And that's something that your father might have given to you. Being kind and compassionate to others is really important. So when you go out to the dungeons and go out and play, Pig Carrie, maybe go up to someone that's sitting by themselves and share a moment with them. Make someone else's life sparkle. When you do something nice to somebody else, when you pay it forward, it's an amazing process. I was really fortunate at the stockroom this weekend. I went to go see the Knights of the Lear. I went to go see their panel, and I had all of these young, beautiful women sitting either on my lap, arms around me, hanging all over me. And you know what? It was a very special afternoon. I had so much fun. I have developed a whole bunch of new friends that are wonderful, sweet, and kind. One of the most important things to get out of depression is to not get into the drama of the life around you. I'm not talking about your father's death. I'm talking about outside your family. Find some place where you can relax and enjoy yourself. Go to a movie, put on funny movies, bring out a good book. Watch TSR Network, the live shows or the recorded shows. Educate yourself. Do something that's good for you. It's so important to do something good for you. Well, we need some more questions coming in. Pig Carrie said she'll be up here at between March 5th and March 7th. Will you be up here for our 12-year anniversary party at the Lear de Sade? That would be awesome to be able to get a big hug from you. It really would be awesome. There are more people that are viewing the show that are not in the chat room. Please come in. And I'm waiting for some more questions. Since I'm waiting and there's nothing there because of the fact that we have such a delay, you guys got to write these questions and just build them up. Anything that comes through your thought of your thoughts, just put them. Is the sky blue? I don't care. I'll tell you what I think about the sky is blue. So just think of any questions that you want to put up there. And I am looking at, which you see me looking over here. I am looking at the chat room. You see me looking here. I am looking at me. You see me looking at here. I don't do that because I can see myself, and I'd rather look straight at the camera and see all you guys. So BDSM. I was going to do. Oh, that's a good question. I was just going to tackle this. Miss Julie asked me if I have seen 50 Shades, and if so, what did I think? I have not seen it yet, the movie. And I keep teasing everybody, I'm going to wait until it's on Netflix, because it'll probably be on Netflix within a week. But I've had friends tell me that they liked it, and I have some friends that tell me that they didn't. I can bag on the writing from the book. I can say it was horrible writing. Yes, it was horrible writing. It wasn't a very good book. I only read 220 pages. I'm looking for someone that has the audio tapes where I can borrow them, because I need to read them before. I need to read all 3 books before the summer comes, because I've got to go back and teach a class, and they want me to read all 3 books, because I said what a horrible book it was. I only read 220 pages, and you're right. I can't really judge a book by only 220 pages. But what I read, I got something to read. This is my take on 50 Shades of Grey. Are you ready? I'm going to read you guys something. Ready? 50 Shades of Dishes. The night was quiet and dark as thoughts ran through my head. Off in a far room, it waits, it calls out to me. Are you going to come and do me? You do not want me to wait? I know from the past what happens when I don't obey. I wish I never felt the wrath of my dishes again. Holy cow, raced through my thoughts as I lay there with thoughts of long, lean forks and spoons touching my wet hands. It sent shivers down my spine with memories of how my dishes can control my every wish. Holy jeez. When my dishes don't get their needs met, they create a green slime that likes to give my hands a gooey feel. It's like when you see a spider and all you want to do is run. If I let it go too long, the food will get hard on the plates, and my hands try to scrub it off, but it always leaves my hands a beating in the end. The smell overpowers my senses as I sit in fear of what I'm going to find when I walk into this strange room filled with stoves, refrigerators, pots and pans. I don't want to submit to my dishes, but there is a need to please my dishes that I can't understand. Holy cow, it has long knives. I cry out, I'm a dominant, and that I don't switch, but my dishes have a power over me and will make me do what I wish not to do. They have no safe word, and they do not give me aftercare. It just sits and waits for me. And I know it will break me down, and I will do its bidding. The edge play that my dishes make me do is not what no safe dish would do to my hands without harming them. Yes, I feel the knife run across my fingers as the dish makes bubbly sounds, as the water turns red. This pleases my master in the sink, as the blood plays with their bubbles. Hot. Holy jeez. What have I become? But I moan with the thoughts of my dishes, long forks brushing up against my flesh. It says it will hurt me, but never harm me. But alas, it makes me face my limits at each moment. I cry out, red, and it does not pay me any mind. It keeps in this sadistic manner. I yell out, what about safe, sane, and consensual? My master is into rack, and he pays me no mind, and will work me till each dish is clean and drying on the dish rack. The long forks in the water take my breath away, and I have no voice as I stand there at the sink, and I do what a good slave will do. Wait, I'm not a slave, I cry out. The water is running out of the spout, drowning out my voice. But, I cry out, my dishes never stop taking me to that place of subspace. My holy cow, I cry out. The pots and pans are endless as my hands are red from being overbeaten. My dishes know it's all about them and their narcissistic personality disorder. It waits. It creates pressure on me to surrender my will. I hear it calling from my dark room, and I try to hide. but in the end it will win. Oh, geez. I'm helpless with these thoughts. There's no warmth in the shining glasses basking on the rack, because it's about their need and not mine. There will be no aftercare. There will be no contract made, but it owns me. I am just a slave to my dishes, and there is no way out. I wait, wait, wait. There is. Why did I not think of this before? Yes, I must find a slave to fight this dark place that hides in my kitchen. There is light after all in the darkness. Holy cow, but the long knives and forks, and don't forget about the spoons. Do they think that I will settle for a few moments with the spoons? So that is something that I wrote on 50 Shades of Dishes. I hope I didn't lose all of you. Who has erotic experiences with their dishes? But that's 50 Shades of Grey. I'm going to talk more about it. Hi, Entropy. 50 Shades of Grey, I think, will bring in a lot of curious people. A lot of people that will be curious about our lifestyle. It will bring in people that will be curious. They'll come into the lifestyle and they'll realize that this may not be for them. And then there'll be a few that will realize that this might be a life choice that they might like. And someday those people might become leaders of our community. So it is really, really important for teachers, educators, presenters, elders, people that have been in the lifestyle for a long time, to be able to teach some of the things, like as Art Miller talked about earlier with negotiations, that we have the need to teach to someone that has come, new into the lifestyle. We have Fire Monkey, who's just come into the room. Welcome, Fire Monkey. So it's really important for us to teach and educate new people. If you see someone that's new in the lifestyle, open yourself up for questions for them. Give them some great advice. Take your time, because these are our future. And 50 Shades of Grey may have made us less taboo in the vanilla world. But I don't think we'll ever be taboo, because, they have not even experienced the things that we do, like needle play, knife play, fire play, some of the humiliation scenes that we do. So, it's not going to be for everybody. And people are calling it mommy porn. Well, you know what? Mommies have to have sex too. And I think that what she has done, the writer of 50 Shades of Grey, I think she's a fabulous person that knows how to do marketing. I think she's done a great job in marketing. Does she misrepresent our lifestyle? Yes, I do. I think she's very uninformed. She really doesn't know our lifestyle. But that's just my own opinion. But the things that we look at are so different. She does zip ties. I mean, there's been people that, I've heard that in hospitals, people are coming in with problems because they have been, zip ties on their arms or their wrist. So the curious will be there, but we will get some leaders out of it, whether we like it or not. And I welcome them. I've been teaching at the Leader Side for the last 12 years. I teach a lot of classes. I just taught at the stockroom, and I'm going to continue teaching, because I think it's really important to be able to get correct information out there. And I don't know it all. I'm still learning every day. And I feel that what happens in BDSM is this. The first 3 years, you go to classes and you get educated. The next few years, you know it all. Your ego's big. You think you know everything. And then about 6 years into it, you realize you know shit. And then you go back to taking classes. But come on, you guys, get some questions in the chat room, or else I'm just going to rattle on. So give me your next question. But 50 Shades of Grey, it is what it is. Story of O did not change the way our lifestyle is. East of Eden did not change, or Exit to Eden did not change it. 9.5 weeks did not change it. The Secretary did not change it. I don't think any movie or book is going to change the way that we do our lifestyle. And then we can't forget also, which is really amazing at some of the the regular bookstores and some of the grocery stores, you're also seeing beauty series, which is pretty amazing, which is really, really amazing. So NPP says, name something that really chaps your ass about the scene, lifestyle, subculture. Feel free to rant. Go next. Go nuts. You really want this, NPP. All right, here we go. You ready? First of all, when I talk about dominance, I talk about male and female dominance. I use the word dominant for both. So I'm not picking on one gender. I'm not saying one gender, okay? Please understand that while I start this rant. To all of the people that are predators, that are well-known leaders in our community, that go from one girl to another girl to another girl, or one man to another man to another man, and everything in between, that they hurt, that they destroy. To all the women and the men that have not been back to dungeons because of this abuse. Our community is ripe for abuse. It is ripe for abuse because the submissive thinks that they don't have a voice. Well, you do. You have to come into this community knowing who you are, knowing that you are a sane person. This community will not fix you. If you're into destructive, abusive relationship, you will find someone that will be glad to be destructive and abusive without a conscience. I have seen this happen over and over and over again. So many wonderful people have been forced out of the community because of it. Our community is based on something that's really important. That is honesty, trust, and integrity. It is a foundation of who we are. We flash around words like transparency and authenticity, but how many people are actually transparent? Tell the truth in our community. Sometimes the truth hurts. But it's really important when you're dealing with a human soul and a human body and mind. It is one of the most important things. As we talked about earlier with Pig Carey about being considerate, kind. Just because I'm a dominant doesn't mean that I don't have those traits. Those traits are what make me the best dominant that I can be. When I say to you, I will hurt you, but I will never harm you, I really honestly believe that. It is so important. But when you have people that are hurting people and not caring, that irks me. Not taking personal responsibility. That personal responsibility, you fucked up. You make amends. People like that are the vile part of who we are. It is vile. It's horrible. And I see it all the time. People kissing asses of some leaders in our community that are assholes. I'm sorry. You're fucking assholes. And if we do speak out, the drama queens, talking about male, female, doesn't matter. They come out and they crucify us. So people like myself, we keep this to ourselves. But more and more, I do speak my mind. I stay away from drama. I stay away from people that gossip. Gossip is the worst thing in our community. Gossip and jealousy. I'm not talking about jealousy in relationships. I'm talking about personal accomplishment jealousy. People, just because we do BDSM, just because we're presenters, just because we're teachers, just because we're educators, we're leaders in the community, we can be real fucking dicks. And we've got to stop that. We've got to have some way to have some kind of accountability. We really do. I mean, it's really important. I love my community. There are sometimes I have to walk away from it and breathe and take a break and reevaluate if I even wish to be in the community. And we all go through that. You know, when we're new, we're all excited and happy and wow, this is really great. And then when we get burned over and over again, we finally realize that something has to be done. We have to take personal responsibility for allowing things to happen in our life. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everyone's going to like me. It's really important. It's really important that you like yourself. Fire Monkey says, I have real trouble understanding why these aren't more open acknowledgments of those predators. There's a reason why, Fire Monkey, is because these people are surrounded by people that are like themselves. And if you call them out, they will crucify you. I have watched this over and over again. They take no responsibility for what they have done. And it's like how a riot starts. One person breaks a window, other people join, and until there's nothing left. And we can't allow that to happen in our community. So I band together with people that are nice and kind and considerate and caring and loving. I don't tolerate abuse from anybody, and I will call it. If somebody mistreats me, I don't talk about them to other people, but I will go to them and I will go to the source. Go to the source. But sometimes it's like hitting your head up against a fucking wall. It really is. Because when somebody doesn't realize with their narcissistic sociopath personality, if they don't understand what they have done, you're never going to have them listen. They're never going to hear you. You can't change somebody. So this is, you knew Entropy that I get passionate about this, and I do go nuts. And Entropy and I've had several conversations about this. We've had after shows, Entropy says that is certainly one reason. The other one is that community built on the ideas of tolerance and that it can be worked out to our detriment. Yes, we tolerate things. If the victims of some of the predators, male or female predators, because we have lots of female predators too, if the victims would come together, but they can't because they feel that they have no voice. And when they do, I told you, as I said earlier, they're ripped apart. Everything about them is ripped apart. I don't defend myself publicly. I never take anything publicly. I never post anything negative on FetLife. I don't believe in it. I really don't believe in it. If I need to talk to someone, if I'm upset with someone, if I think that they've done something wrong, I go to the source. Because once you take it public, then the drama hits. And we don't need that. Art Miller says, is there a venting process? Perhaps go back to the negotiations, rekin the right question, and how to root out the predators. We have tried. This comes up in our community year after year after year. I have SafeStandingConsensual.com that I've done nothing with. And the only reason that I bought SafeStandingConsensual.com was to create safe houses for people and to create safe places for people that have been with predators, that have been hurt, that have been abused. Because we do have abusers in our community. And you know what? We put a name on them. Dominant. Male or female, dominant. We try. There's no way to police us. I wish there was. I think when back in the 50s or the 40s or the 50s and the 60s and whatever, when the gay Leathermen, they policed each other. If you did something wrong in the community, they outed you. They stood behind their victims. They stood behind the person that was weaker, that could not defend themselves. We don't have that. And it's gotten worse because everyone wants to be a star. Everyone wants to be on stage teaching. Everyone wants to go from their ego and say, whoa, look at me. This is how great I am. And people ask me, well, why do you do TSR Network? Don't you do it for your ego? Doesn't it build up your ego? No, it doesn't. There's a reason why. As a dominant, I had to find some way to do service, to give back. And when I saw a lot of the abuse that had happened in our lifestyle, I made a clear choice to do something about it. And this is how I do it. I basically started TSR Network to teach and educate people, to keep them away from predators, teaching at the Lear to Sod for 12 years. You know, I don't get paid for that. Do you know how many people have come up to me and have said, I wish I would have gone to your class before I dated so-and-so or this or that, and they wouldn't have gotten hurt? Or how many people that came up to me and would say, boy, I'm glad I did go to your class, because you know what? Now I know what to look for. Now I know how to stay away from predators. Just because someone has a name does not make them a safe person to open your heart up or your soul with. Miss Julie said, there's also a problem with the ones who claim to be victims and that aren't really victims. Those people are difficult to see through sometimes. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Not all of us come into this lifestyle healthy emotionally. We attract people from all different places, different environments, different histories, different psychological problems. We attract some amazing minds. I mean, we attract so many different people. It's really hard to vent and to figure out who's a good person and who's not a good person. I have seen submissives and slaves do the most shittiest things. It just blows me away that they could treat their sir or their mistress that way and literally turn on them like like the drop of a dime without any regret. It happens on both sides of the fence. Entropy says, plus the gay Leatherman occasionally employed some 2x4 therapy to the worst of the worst. Yes. We're going to attract these. This is going to happen. And in the chat room, I want to ask you, give me some advice. Tell the audience how they can avoid it. It's really important how to avoid these things. And there's more people watching. If you're not in the chat room, please come on in. And if you are watching the show and you know someone that's new, please send them to this one show, because this is a lot of information. It's really important for us to experience this. And we've gone, oh my God, it's already 8:43. I mean, it's pretty amazing. The hour's going by so quickly. Miss Julie said, I had 2 submissives like that. Yes, and so have I. I have not only had a submissive that left me for a friend, but all of my friends and the community hid it from me. And I was no longer invited to any of the play parties or any of the social events because she was there with my submissive. I know how it feels. It hurts. But I have made amends with all of them, because you know what? Our community is too small. Too small. You're going to see people. You don't want people hating you. I don't want to hate people. And you know what? You fucked up. Okay. Now, I don't have to carry around their fuck up on the back of my shoulder for the rest of my life. Entropy says that was 2x4, as in they looked at them behind the bar and beat the absolute fuck out of them. Yes, but we can't do that. We can't do that. We're a little different. We protect our predators and our false prophets in the community, but we do that. But that's I stay away from them. I think it's really true is to keep your friends close, but your enemies even closer. I think it's really important to do that. I think it's really important to see people for who they are. Really listen. Pay attention to what they say. If you're a newbie, pay attention to the words that come out of their mouth. If it's all I, me, you will do this for me, you know what? Never lose your voice. It's so important. It's one of the most important things that you can keep in this lifestyle, because it'll keep your sanity. And as a dominant, how many dominants in the chat room have had a psycho, male or female, that just was crazy? That was absolutely nuts. And then badmouth you after the experience when you didn't really create the problem. Gossip is like a burning hole in the community, and drama. It's almost like you're in high school and you've never quite grown up. They react the same way to how we reacted with drama in high school, which I never got involved with because I was kind of a little bit in my own cliquish group. Miss Julie says, I think it's really important to get to know someone before you jump into a relationship with them. Listen to the red flags. Yes. But Julie, Miss Julie, but he's so cute. Oh my God. He's got the most perfect wee-wee. He's just so adorable. He's so cute. It's so cute. He is so adorable. You know, he kneels down in pants when he's around me. But look at what they do when they're not around you. It's really important. Yeah, I have a hard time in relationships. Relationships are not my thing. I make bad choices, ladies and gentlemen. Masters and mistresses, slaves and submissives. I make horrible choices in people. It's what I do. But I accept that fact, that I take that responsibility, that I pick certain people. That's one of the things. I'm a woman of age, okay? I'm mature. And a lot of women my age are extremely angry with men. And they are, I mean, raging angry that there's no good men, there's da-da-da-da-da-da. And they talk about all the hurt that they've been through and all the people that mistreated them and how horrible it's been and how these bastards could have done this. And then I present something to them and it normally shuts them up. And they normally really don't like what I say. And what I say to them is this. You have to take some responsibility in the men or the women that you have chosen to come into your life. There was something about that person. There was something that you needed from that person. So you opened yourself up. You had your blinders on and you did not see because you needed something. It's really important to look at that. You won't be so angry with all your exes if you look at that and take that responsibility. I have an ex. If I see, I hope to see him someday. I was thinking of inviting him to the 12-year anniversary because I'd like to say thank you. You were right. We weren't right for each other. He was right. It would have never worked out. It would have never been a successful, loving relationship. Miss Julie says exactly. And I listen to when they talk about others. And if they talk a lot about shit about others, they will talk shit about you too. Yes, they will. They blame it on the mistress. My mistress was this. My master was this. He mistreated me. She mistreated me. Whoa, 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 me. So I don't bring when I'm talking to a slave or a bottom or a submissive, I don't bring in my past relationships because I want to concentrate on my present relationship. It's really important. So I'd love to know in the chat room how other people have handled this. Entropy says been known to happen, so it's interesting about, I have another pet peeve, Entropy, a really another pet peeve that drives me fucking crazy. I'm talking about fucking crazy. And this is the one that I have. You ready? And this drives me nuts. Well, there's no community. We don't have a community. There's no community in BDSM. And I would like to take that person, bat them up against the head, hit them up against the wall, beat the shit out of them with a paddle until they're bleeding. What do you mean we don't have a community? There is not a street in the United States that someone's not being tied to a bed, blindfolded, tied to a bed, blindfolded, and spanked. And look at all the dungeons, look at all the munches, look at all the education. Look at FetLife. How many, was it 3 million people are on one site? What do you mean we don't have a community? You may not think that there's a community. You may not wish to be part of a community, but I am part of this community that I love and I adore. It has taught me more lessons about myself than any other time in my life. It has taken the layers and the layers of shit that I have built up around me, the walls. I still have walls that are up there that are so huge. It has taught me how to be a strong woman. It wasn't easy being a female dominant in a male dominant world. My dungeon of choice is the Lyre d'Assad. When I went there, they were mostly all male dominants. The women wouldn't speak to me because they thought I was after their dom, and the men didn't speak to me because I wasn't a submissive. So for a year, I hung out. I went in. I started introducing myself to people. I started developing friendships. I took my time. I never stopped. I took my time, and I held my head up high. Even when people would say to me, oh, you just haven't found your right sir yet, he. And I would turn around and look at them with a nice little smile, and I said, I don't think you found your right mistress yet. And that would shut them up. And they would laugh, and we would laugh, but I didn't take any anger out of any of the treatment, because you know what? It's almost like the gay Leatherman. I had to earn my stripes. I had to earn the right to be called a mistress. I wasn't a mistress in one day, and there I was. I had to really work hard. I had to learn how to flog. I had to learn how to sing. I had to learn how to negotiate. I had to learn how to handle a slave or a submissive. I had to learn all of these things. And I had the help of many, many men that were dominants that I knew. So it's all about showing up. But it changed me. I came into the community, and I say this all the time, a willing victim. I am no longer a willing victim. It's an amazing process if you allow it to happen. If you really take a look at what we do in this lifestyle, how we act, what I like to say to people is that when you go to a dungeon or a munch, or you go anywhere, it's how you represent yourself. It's how you treat other people. If you walk in a fucking prick or a bitch, and you order people around and think that you are King Kong, you're going to be treated like an asshole. People are going to treat you as you are. But if you walk in with a smile on your face, you're nice to people, you're friendly, you're courteous, you respect other people, you respect their property, you have that foundation of honor and integrity, and you're honest. And honest, especially when we talk about honesty, we talk about honestly about yourself. More people are watching it. If you're watching it, please go into the chat room. We're taking questions. Fire Monkey says it still isn't at times. Could you please clarify that for me, Fire Monkey? Make a little more sentence for I'm going all over the place, so I might have lost you in the transition. So I would like to be able to answer that question for you. And please, you guys, we only have a few minutes, so please put in your questions. Unless in the chat room you guys want to go longer. I can talk. I got my water. See? My mouth is getting a little dry. But any more questions? Art Miller, you got another question for me? It would be great. Those are what I rant on. I rant on, predators, and I rant on, people who don't, believe that we have any community whatsoever. It's really amazing. The Lyre d'Assad is probably roughly about 5,000 members strong. Thank God they all don't come at the same time. They really are about 5,000 people that go to the Lyre d'Assad. Not all during the same play party. We're having that 12-year anniversary party at the Lyre d'Assad for anyone that has been a guest, a host, has watched our shows, have watched us on the internet, have heard about us, who would like to hear about us. We welcome them to the party. It is a fundraiser for TSR Network. Miss Julie says, how do you handle if there is a former sub of yours bad-mouthing you to others? It has happened, Miss Julie. And when I get wind of it, I normally call them over and I lecture them. what I do with somebody, how our relationships are, is personal. It's almost like what you do in Vegas stays in Vegas. I mean, I could see if I was a very destructive person and I harmed them in any way, and they had every right to badmouth me. But normally, most of the submissives that I've been with, um, I can only think of two that I have not had a relationship, friendship relationship afterwards. Two that I have lost our friendship. One lived with me for 5 years, and I know that he badmouthed me really badly. And at times, you know what? He had every right to. There's a lot going on. We were both very unhappy. And I was learning a whole bunch of things like Photoshop, learning how to edit audio and video. I was learning how to build websites. My mind was somewhere else because it was the infancy part of TSR Network. And, we're talking, he would come home and I would be off, on the internet. I mean, on the computer, just, learning. And my head was, I'm kind of a tunnel vision sort of person, a little bit of ADD. So he had every right to think the way that he felt, but we were not compatible with each other. He was a person that he used to say that he was trisexual. He'd try anything. And I was a more of, I have to have chemistry with somebody. I just can't be with just anybody. And we had a whole different way of looking, our outlook on BDSM. We just had a whole different structure. And he badmouthed me very badly. And he's the one that if I saw him, I would thank him, But the people who knew me didn't believe anything that he said. So it was mostly all to new people. Fire Monkey says being a female dominant. Yeah, it's still hard. It's still very difficult being a female dominant. It really is. I mean, I still get, the same question, you just haven't found your right, sir, but I've earned my respect. And I think that when we show up, we earn our respect. And I don't cow down to anybody. Example, Saturday night at the Lear de Sade, my friend Tony Bones was sitting on a chair, and he got up, and he was gone for a long time, so I sat in the chair, and he came back and told me to get up, and I told him no. He got mad at me, and he had to move a chair over, but I stood my ground, because you know what? I don't cow down to anybody. If you're sitting in a chair, you get up, you go away for a long time, you don't expect to have it come back, and it's not yours. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. But I love Tony. Tony Bones is an awesome guy, and I think that he was a little two shades in the wind, so he probably didn't even remember the incident, which was crazy. Let's see. Art Miller wants to know, difference level of power exchange. Is there a better right role to start out? If you were in the gay leather world, which I really, really respect, a lot of times that they want you to start out mostly, as a submissive where you can learn the ropes. In the het world, that's not necessarily, some people don't necessarily do that. Everyone knows my secrets. I'm pretty open in my secrets. I started out as a submissive, never played with anybody. I was really lousy. I was a giving, caring person, and I thought that what made me a submissive. And it had nothing to do with being a dominant or submissive, and a very wise dominant, steered me in the right direction, and I'm very pleased that he did. And I did submit to a submissive. My last submissive, I submitted to him one time. I let him top me from 6 o'clock in the evening to 4 o'clock in the morning. And now I know where, and our power exchange was pretty intense. And now I know where submissives go to their subspace, and I know what sub drop is like. And to me, it did not necessarily make me a switch. It made me curious, and not curious, but I was teaching him how to top someone, and he took it to like a fish in water or a duck in water, and I'm not ashamed of it. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about how I could allow myself to surrender. That whole word surrender is really important. And I surrendered that evening. I surrendered my will to someone else. And the feeling that you get when you surrender, it's pretty remarkable. But would I do it again? No. It's not my cup of tea. It was an interesting journey. I learned a lot. I'm not ashamed of it. I have no shame in that. It doesn't diminish the dominant part of who I am. But that power exchange, there's many different levels of power exchange. I think that chemistry is really important to me to have a successful power exchange. I don't have that same feeling with someone that I'm not, that I don't have the chemistry with. I don't do drive-bys anymore. I used to when I first started. I used to play around with a lot of people, and I started feeling like I was a service dom, which I am not a service dom. I like playing in relationships. I like being in relationships. But it's really important that you know who you are. It doesn't matter if you switch. I mean, people are going like, "Oh my God, switch!" But power exchange, to me, it's like a beautiful dance. It's when two people get together and they do these most extraordinary things with each other. The sweat comes out of the body, the touching, the feeling, the caressing, the pain, the sounds. All of those things are so magnificent. And the music, I like really awesome music that's played that gets me into the mood. And when you have chemistry with somebody, that power exchange happens naturally. It's like when you're having sex. When you're, you know, inside a person, or they're inside of you, or whatever, and you're kissing and you're caressing, that feeling that you have. That's what power exchange to me is like. It's like having sex. It's intimate. It's sensual. It's erotic. It's beautiful. It takes you out of the place where you're at. It brings you to another dimension of some sort. When you see someone that has this wonderful power exchange between two people, when you see them and you see their movements and you see them, you know, it's beautiful to watch. That's why I like public dungeons, because I love to watch awesome scenes, people that really care about each other. I don't care much for people that are too busy looking around to see who's looking at them. I don't participate in watching people like that. But I do participate in watching people that really know what they're doing, when you can really see the love and the caring between the two people. And they don't have to be in a relationship. They could just be playing for the very first time and they got it. It doesn't determine relationship. It determines that energy that you both, it's a give and a take. I give you pain. You give me back the wonderful movements of your body and the expressions on your face, the tears that come down your eyes. Nothing's hotter than that. Nothing. Entropy says, I hope, Art Miller, that helped with your question a little bit. Entropy said, what have you never done in the context of a scene that you really wanted to? I have never done, which I would like to. And this is going to sound weird coming from me. And the person that got me really curious about it was Mistress Melina. She was International Miss Leather, and she does race play. To me, I think race play would be an experience. I don't know how I would feel about it. I mean, it's just, I'm curious, but I don't know if I could do it. But I'm really good in role playing. I'm really good in that. So I think it might be something that I might entertain, that I might be open to, if I have that chemistry with someone, and if that person knows that we are just role playing, that's not really how I feel. Because I think it's really important that you have that understanding. And what happens is, when you do something like that, it's what happens afterwards matters. The aftercare, the talking about the scene, talking about what transpired, really taking the time to listen to the submissive and hearing them. It's really important to hear what they have to say, how they experienced, how they felt, what it meant to them. And it's also important for us to express to them what it meant to us. there's a big argument in our community, and it started from the first time that I was in the community. People would say, oh, submissives and slaves, they don't give us a gift. We just beat them. They don't give us any gift. Bullshit. I have been beaten once in a scene with my last submissive. He didn't beat me. He scened with me. And I gave. That was my gift to him. And I know what it's like to be in an abusive relationship. I know what it's like for someone to take their fist and smash it into your face without any love or caring. So there's a huge difference. But yeah, race, I would love to do. I would like to, but I don't know if I ever will. I don't know if I have the guts to do it. I don't know where it will take me. But I think it might be interesting because I've done so much. I can't think of anything else off the cuff what I have not done. I can't think of anything else. Miss Julie says, I completely agree with that. She's talking about power exchange. I like the power exchange within relationship. It happens naturally. It's not forced for the sake of a scene. It flows through me better than that way. I know a lot of people can play with new people just to play, but I prefer having a relationship with who I am playing with. I do too. I prefer a relationship. And I can't do it just because I'm attracted to somebody at that moment I meet them for the first time. Because I don't do drive-bys. That's one of the reasons I don't play a lot. You either get to know me or we don't play. So it's really important. It's important to me. I think it's important to a lot of people. I think when you're new into lifestyle, you want that experience. So you play with other people. You're constantly playing with new people. You're getting that experience. But as you mature in this lifestyle, I'm not talking about age maturing. I'm talking about years of maturing as far as scening and playing. It changes. You look at things differently. And we still have a lot of people that are watching that are not in the chat room. So any other questions? I'm waiting for people in the chat room for more questions. So how do you guys like this format? I was thinking of maybe doing this like once a month, just a one-on-one with Rev Mel. So with no other, for you guys can ask questions and so. Art Miller said, you mentioned service dom. What does that mean? Drive by. Same for service submissive. Service dom is someone that will go to a play party and they will play with people and they won't have a relationship with them. And they'll play with one person after another person. And at first it's a lot of fun. And then you start to realize that you're putting out a lot of sweat, a lot of effort. You're working up a sweat. You go home exhausted. And then you choose not to do it anymore. And I call drive-bys is when I'm at a club and somebody will come up to me and say, hey, Rev Mel, will you play with me? And they don't want a relationship with me. They don't want to really get to know me. They don't want to really be in my circle of my family. And they just want to be beaten. And they just want to be serviced. And I call them drive-bys. That's what I mean by drive-bys. And that's a phrase that I made up. In fact, I have a really good friend who goes to the lair, and he's a switch. And one day I was in a sassy mood, and I was walking out of the kitchen area, and he stopped me and said, Rev Mel, would you play with me? And I said to him, I don't do drive-bys. And I walked away, not realizing that I hurt his feelings. He was so upset with me because he never considered himself a drive-by because he was my friend. And that was wrong of me. And when I realized what I did, I went up to him and I apologized because I would never want to mistreat somebody. He did not deserve that I was a little sassy brat that day, all full of myself, So, Miss Julie says, I call them pickup scenes. Yeah, we all have words for them. Yep. Yes, Art Miller, you can have power exchange with someone that you play with for the first time. You can have power exchange with it. I've done some amazing scenes with, there's a young man that I remember. He was a tall guy, bald hair, awesome human being that I've only known, like, hi, Rev Mel, hi, we went back and forth. And he asked me to see him one night, many years ago. And so I said, okay. And when I started scening with him, he started speaking in tongue. And the more I hit him, the more he screamed in tongue. It was such an erotic, wild scene. And then I started answering him back in tongue. And his eyes went bam, and he just looked at me. And we just had this amazing moment. It was an awesome scene. So you can have scenes like that with someone that you played just once. But with me, they're far and few in between. If I'm seeing some really hot scenes playing, sometimes I get my juices running. I'm going, I want to do that. But lately, I have not been bringing any of my toys, but I don't need my toys because I have my hands. I do a lot of primal play. There's a lot of, slapping, punching, scratching, biting, licking, sweat is an interesting taste. And and it's very primal where you growl. I get people to growl all the time. And, my favorite scene was when a friend of mine, I've talked about this before, where I had brought a date with me to the lair, and my date wanted to see me scene, and I said to him I had no toys. And so my friend says, well, you don't need any toys, you know that, Rev Mel, you can play with me. And so we did the scene, and he was on his back, and it got so wild and crazy, and he was growling and I was growling, and squeezing and scrapping and biting and slapping and punching and all these sort of things. And he flipped over and he started to growl at me, and he tried to attack me because he lost sense of who he was. He went completely primal, and I had to put my hand on his forehead and ask him to, I kept saying, it's me, it's Rev Mel, it's me, it's me. And he finally came into the conscious level out of his subconscious. But that's where he went in his subspace, to this primal place of being a wild wolf. And, it was quite a scene. And he has become an awesome dominant. And he teaches, and he is into a lot of blood play, and he's very primal, and he's one of my best friends. He's awesome. And that I think that is one of my most favorite scenes that I have ever done. To see someone go into such primal because of something that we shared together, that to me was enlightenment. That was an awesome, wonderful scene. It was amazing. But, we're good friends. We talk about it. He taught a class on primal at the stock room, and he asked me if I would come, and I said, well, I was going to be there anyways to support him. And he ended up calling me up on, basically stand up and introduced me, which was quite an honor. And he's still my very, very close friend. So Art Miller wants to know, are there techniques to reach subspace? I'd like people in the chat room, if you guys have any techniques that you guys would like to talk about. Yeah, I think there's many ways to bring somebody to subspace. You can do it through pain. How I like to get somebody there is I like to start slowly. I'm always touching them. I never take my hands off of them if I can't, unless if I'm reaching for a toy or something, or I'm using a flogger, because I like a lot of hands-on. So you go a little bit harder. You start to build up to it. You speak to them. You caress your hands over their body or over their face. You kiss their neck, and you pull their hair, and you kind of talk to them in a certain even tone, having great music. I like more calm music when I'm playing, something like Enigma or Enya, something like that, something that has the old-fashioned play music. I kind of like that a lot because it gets me into the mood. And once you create that spot, the whole thing is when you're a public scene player, sometimes it's hard to create that very quiet place for someone to go into subspace, unless you know what you're doing. And if you know what you're doing, you build them up slowly, and they start to lose aware of the room. They start to lose aware of what is around them. And slowly with your voice, you can bring them, talking to them, bringing them deeper and deeper into their subconscious. But watching somebody reach subspace is pretty amazing, and everybody's subspace is different. There's no two alike. There's no two people that have the same experience. It's like a runner's high. It's like you're running and all of a sudden you no longer feel your feet. You know, you can run and run and you no longer feel the pain that's going through your legs. And that's exactly what happens in subspace. And they take this journey. Some people take this journey where some people have done out-of-body experience. My first submissive we used to have spotters to take him down because he was like 6'8". Art Miller says, is it a trance similar to hypnosis? It can be. I do a lot of hypnosis. I do a lot of voiceovers for hypnosis tapes. So it is similar, the certain tone to your voice. I have a very deep voice, which is not a very high voice. I don't talk like that. So it's easy for me to get somebody into a hypnotic trance because of the voice. But and repetitious art, repetitious also. If you're doing a flogger and you're hitting them over and over, and that beat, the certain beat that you create when you're spanking them, you create a certain beat, and it's almost like a drumming. You can see me going like this, like bam, bam, bam. It's this whole drumming and sound that you create, and you both get locked into that sensation. And I think that DOMs, I've had friends say to me that they know the instant that I hit my DOM space, the room fades away. There's no longer a crowd. There's no longer people watching. It is only the submissive and myself that are there in that room. So it happens to both of us. And Miss Julie says, as a top, I stay connected to my bottom too, maintain physical contact at all times. As a bottom, I just let go and accept what is happening. Music helps for me, says Miss Julie. Music is a big influence in what we do. I mean, you can be doing a fabulous scene and some song will come out that will take you right out of your space. So you got to really be careful of the music that you play. But yeah, it's almost like a hypnotic trance. Because and then you can take, Art Miller says, interesting part of the dance, suspect not called out by 50 Shades. No, it isn't, but oh, hi Darren. Darren is in the chat room. Welcome. Darren said it can be like a trance. Some shaman techniques are done by having pain inflicting onto them. Darren used to be my submissive, and I don't think he's ever said anything bad about me. Have you, Darren? But he was an amazing submissive to me. We were with each other for about a year and a half. It was absolutely fabulous and very kind to me, and very obedient, very kind. He is one of the purest souls that I've ever met, which is him and I were a good mix because of our souls were very, very pure. And he goes, hi. But yeah, it can be like a hypnotic trance. When you're the repetitiveness of it. Like we said, like Darren is a drummer, so he knows the beat of drumming on the butt. So he can identify with that beat. They can take you to places. It can take you if you've got the right mix, Art, the right mix of music, the right mix of movement, the right chemistry between two people. I mean, it can be, which they don't talk about in 50 Shades of Grey, it can be a very magical moment. You can dom somebody just by doing this to their face. And I learned this from a friend of mine. We were I did a film called The Joy of Sexual Submission. No, was that it? Yeah, The Joy of Sexual Submission. I didn't name it. I would have called it Safe, Sane, and Consensual. But we interviewed her, and she said that you could take a submissive to subspace just by doing this. And you can. When you're that connected with somebody, just by touching them. I've seen many submissives that a dominant can just go over and touch them, and they will be on the floor. And that's how they react to certain people. That chemistry is so important. That chemistry between two people, that's what makes it magical. It's not the same when you don't have chemistry. To me, it's not. Except for that one that was doing tongue. He was awesome. But what's really fun to do is to take someone that you have that chemistry with, and to pair them up with somebody else, and where you can beat them both. That is hot. Then you can watch them move together. It is an awesome experience. playing with 2 people. I think I've had the most people I've had probably, put together were 3 people. That was awesome. Miss Julie says, I don't really bottom anymore, but I still go into subspace when I get a tattoo. I don't have tattoos. I have no tattoos. I have no piercings. I don't have my Virginia tattooed. I mean, pierced. So any other questions? Are you guys having fun? I can't believe how the conversation has gone. This is pretty good. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot. But if you want any personal questions about me, if you want to ask me anything that is unrelated, yes, the sky is blue. Yes, we have a moon. We have stars. Yes, I am an ordained minister. Yes, I do crazy things like channeling and stuff like that. Entropy says, interesting that you say that, Julie. I have a friend that got a big back tattoo and who isn't a BDSM person. She asked me to go with her, and yeah, I helped her go straight into subspace. Pain will do that to you. I don't think I don't know if I could get a tattoo. I don't have a tattoo. But yeah, I do channeling. I'm getting back into my healing process. My spirit guides are talking to me again. So, I'm in the midst of a huge change. Every 7 years or so, we go into huge changes, and certain things come out in our systems, and we do certain things, and they're calling me back. So it's been an interesting experience. I just taped one of my sessions with one of my spirit guides. I taped it yesterday, so I have not gone through it and listened to it yet. I talked to a friend about it today, and she wanted to hear it. She goes, did you listen to it? What was said? I go, I don't know what was said. I will have to go back and listen to it. But I'm starting to tape the sessions, for at least I know what they're talking about, because I always forget. But yeah, I believe that our spirituality is a huge part of who we are. I'm not talking about God. I'm not talking about, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah. I'm talking about the spiritual enlightenment that we have inside of ourselves and how we're connected to the universe. The woo. So, so. And Entropy says they're still talking about the tattoos. Miss Julie says that's awesome, Entropy. And Entropy says she insisted that I go with her next time. So Entropy is an awesome guy. He's been in the lifestyle for a very, very long time. He's a regular guest on the TSR Network, as much as we can get him up here to be on it. He is the first person that started the, what is it called again? Thank you. It's where they do the Florentine flogging. And he got it from he was watching people flog one day, and he just pieced it together from his martial arts experience. And he makes the most awesome floggers in the whole community. I mean, if you get one of his floggers, they're amazing. So Miss Julie says her husband helps her get through there. The last time I got tattooed without him, I thought that I would not be able to get there, but I did it. So they're still talking about tattoos. So we're going to go about 7 more minutes. And if you guys have any more questions, please, if you aren't sick of me talking, because I've been sitting here talking for an hour and almost a half. But, any more questions? Darren, you got a question? And there's a bit of a delay, so it will take them a couple of seconds to write them in. But I hope that you guys have enjoyed this show. I hope that this has been interesting, with me just sitting up here talking, which I can do. I don't mind talking. I don't know if there's anything else about me that, let's see. I'm not in a relationship right now. That's okay with me. Relationships do not define me. I define myself. Am I open? Yes, I am open. Am I, do I have certain qualities that I look for in people? Oh, this is like the dating game. Woo! Yeah, I do have different qualities that I look for in people. Kindness is probably one of the most important, and honesty. That's because I can't be with someone that isn't honest with themselves. Because to be rigorously honest with yourself is really important. And you guys aren't even talking in the chat. You guys, come on, you guys. Ask me a question. You're sitting here listening to me. Come on, Fire Monkey. Come on, Darren. Come on, Art Miller. Come on, Entropy, Miss Julie. Ask the question. Make a statement. They're not. They're watching me squirm. They're being dominant. That's what they're doing. They're watching me squirm. I can sit here and talk about anything. I can tell you the first time I've ever did public play was with a friend of mine from France. His mistress loaned him to me, and we did a 4-hour scene. And it was an awesome scene. I mean, it was the very first time that I picked up a flogger, a paddle, a crop, and I actually did a scene. And Darren says, we're listening. Thank you. Thank you. But he's still a friend. I mean, he's been a friend of mine for over 14 years. So Miss Julie says, how do you suggest someone going about finding someone when they're looking? That's a very good question. Because as we know, being a single person, it is sometimes very difficult to find someone that you're compatible with. Go to munches, go to dungeons, get out. Some people say, well, I don't want to go alone. It's okay to go alone. You don't have to have someone holding your hand to go through places like this. If you do go on the internet, if you do go on Collar Space, or I don't think FetLife is a dating thing for me. I've had a couple people that have, tried to pursue me, and we've shared photographs, but it's been an information place for me. Collar Space is more of if I'm looking for a slave, and a lot of them are worse than drive-bys. A lot of them are just, they just want to stay, behind the camera or behind the typewriter or the computer and jack off. And I don't participate in that. I ask questions. I only give them a short period of time. And I think that if someone drags something on forever and ever, that they're not worth it. They're just home jacking off. I'm both male and female. I think it takes a tremendous amount of courage to really search for someone that you care about. Ask a lot of questions. If you see someone that you go to a dungeon and you see someone that looks interesting, get over your fear. Go up to them. They might be a newbie. They might be looking for someone just like you. You never know. Don't judge yourself by the people that they're with. Don't say, well, she's really beautiful. She's skinny. They're all his friends and da da da. Never compare yourself to other people. Go there with your head, held high. Ask a lot of questions. Go out. Don't stay home. I do a lot of isolating. Sometimes I would rather stay home and work on some of my creativity than to go out in public. And I have to literally force myself. As Darren knows, I have to force myself to get out. I'm not a day person. I don't go out in the sun, not because I'm afraid of the sun. It's because I'm a night person, have always been a night person. So someone that gets with me has to be kind of a night person too. I'm very quirky in so many parts of my life. I don't do things normally like other people do. So munches are absolutely amazing. Dungeons. Another thing is ask a friend. Ask a friend if there's someone that they could suggest to you. Go on a vanilla site. You never know how many men that you can meet on the vanilla. Don Javier's in the chat room. Welcome, Don Javier. So you never know when. Darren's laughing. What are you laughing at, Darren? Type in what you said that you're laughing at. Oh, he said she's a vampire. Yes, I am a vampire. But that's how you can meet someone. Get out there, do it. And it's not an easy process, especially when you're alone. When you're alone at a dungeon and everybody has their partners and you don't know anybody, you feel lost and isolated. The best thing to do is to go in a common area where everyone's sitting and talking and join the conversation. I think that's the best way to meet somebody. I have a really bad luck with newbies that I bring into the lifestyle. All of a sudden, they're like kids in a candy store, and they want everything, and then they forget about me, and then I get pissy, and I get pissed, and then I take it out on myself, and I got to stop doing that. So I think that a really interesting story. I used to tell my daughter, you don't have to worry about meeting Mr. Right. Mr. Right, if he's meant to be, he will come knocking at your door. And she would poo-hoo that story. So one day we had a meeting at our apartment complex when we lived in Beverly Hills. And this man asked if this other person could come to the meeting because his mother was being evicted or something like that. And we said yes. So my daughter jokes with me. She says, well, maybe he's a man for you, Mom. And I said, well, maybe he's a guy for you. And I went out to the door to meet him and open up the door. And there was this beautiful young man who was gorgeous, sweet, adorable. And at that moment, I knew this man was perfect for my daughter. So when I brought him in, she was on the floor sitting talking to her friends, and she got up. It was like watching slow motion between two people. You know, like in the movies, they'll slow it down, like, whoo, you know, they'll be running to each other. And she was with him for 13 years, and they just got married in October. So sometimes you don't have to look outside. Sometimes it comes to you. And you got to be in a certain mindset to let it happen. You got to be really much aware of the fact that you're willing to let those walls down. That's how you can meet somebody. You know, claim it to the universe. Tell the universe that you want to meet somebody, that you want somebody in your life. But I tell them, what I teach in my class, I have a class called how to find your perfect mate in BDSM. One of the things I say is write down your needs. Not your wants, your needs. You need somebody to, like mine is, I need them to be kind, considerate, tall. I'm a tall freak. I like tall men. It's really ridiculous. You got to have a job. You got to be able to take care of yourself. All of these things you have to, write down and take a really good look at it and put it out to the universe. The moment you think that you can't have it, it disappears. So always have that good thought that you're going to meet somebody, and someone that could be an important part of your life. If you allow it to happen, if you really want it, you can create that reality. John Javier says he was a process server looking for Rev Mel. No, he wasn't. He's my son-in-law. He's awesome. But yeah, you can find your perfect mate anywhere. In the grocery store, anywhere. Supermarket. It doesn't matter. When they're ready to show up in your life, they'll show up. But you got to get out and you got to do things. So any other questions in the chat room? Hello? I'm sitting there waiting for people to ask questions. I don't do well in the relationship division because I have too many fucking walls up. And Darren knows that, I'm Miss Wall, I should get the Miss Wall of the United States award. Trying to break them down, trying to figure out what I want. I'm very happy alone. I can be very, very happy alone. Valentine's Day was kind of, I didn't have anyone to share it with except 100 friends. That was fun. We had a nice time at Valentine's Day. We opened up the new rope dojo room at the Lear Side. It's awesome. It's beautiful. If you come to the 12-year anniversary party, you will be able to go into the rope dojo room and hang somebody up and do some shibari or some rope play. It's fabulous. But we're looking forward to, people are starting to say they're coming, which would be great. Javier says he just needs a cheap hooker with an EBT card. Darren says she's crazy. Yeah, I am. Darren knows me well. He knows I have these amazing, spectacular moods. And then I have these moods that I am a royal grouch. He has seen me go through them all. So has Javier. Javier is one of my closest friends. He checks up on me all the time to make sure I'm okay because he knows that I suffer from depression and that I get grouchy and I get weepy and I feel sorry for myself. We all go through that. I mean, every single one of us on earth. I do not wake up a happy person. I have to have my coffee. My submissives, that have ever been with me, that have spent the night, they have to make me coffee in the morning because it's important. And if I have to tell a submissive to do something twice, I'll do it myself. So, Darren knows me pretty well. He knows how crazy I am, which is good. Crazy is crazy, at least I'm not boring. At least I'm not a boring person. And I have a hard time in the vanilla world, though, because I have to censor myself. It's very difficult for me to go to, vanilla functions because I have to kind of watch what I say because I swear like a truck driver and I say inappropriate things. And because if they knew half of the things, no, if most people knew half of the things that I think of that I actually don't say, they would be shocked. Because my brain works really fast and really crazy. Javier says, why did you tell everyone now you won't be able to get laid? It doesn't matter. I will either get, everyone's trying to get me laid. Javier wants to do a raffle on who's going to, you better not do that at the, no, you better not do that at the 12-year anniversary party. Here, buy a raffle. This is to get laid by Rev Mel. No, that's not going to. We're having some awesome things that are being at the raffle. Liberty Manor's going to be donating 3 days at Liberty Manor. It is a BDSM town in just 30 miles out of Houston, Texas. You know, they'll pick you up at the airport and they'll bring you in, and one of their glam tents. It's awesome. We also have Nuru, who's going to be doing a photo shoot, and that's going to be absolutely wonderful. And then we have Justin Sayer, who's going to be donating a toy that he's building especially for us, for our raffle. And then we have Z. She's also, I don't remember what she wrote me, but she's going to be doing a donating. I'm trying to get other people to donate, you know, like stock room and stuff like that, so they can donate to a raffle. I wasn't going to do a raffle. I just wanted to have a party, but everyone says you need to do a raffle. Javier says Rev Mel's gangbang fundraiser. Yeah, right. I don't do drive-bys. What makes you think I would do drive-by fucks? So what's in the chat room? What is your favorite swear word? We haven't done this in a long time. My favorite swear word is cunt. I've worked hard for that. In fact, somebody on FetLife put a photograph of a pair of shoes. And when you put the shoes like this, like that, it's spelled cunt. I wanted those shoes. I thought those were absolutely amazing. Javier wants to spank me for charity. I don't think so. No, that's not going to happen. Nope. Entropy says, gotta run. But what's your swear word, Entropy? He's got to go. Miss Julie said fuck. She likes the word fuck. So who else likes swear words? And I think we're almost done. Let's get our swear words out. Darren says, no, it's not. It's fuck. Bye, Entropy. Miss Julie says goodbye to him. So people are in the chat room. You know, we've been going for quite a while, and I think that once I get Don Javier's and everybody else's swear word, then we'll wrap it up. He says, oh, that sounds like a reason to come up from San Diego. Yes, it is. It will be fun. It'll be amazing. Javier's favorite swear word is that fucking Rev Mel. With that, we're going to call it a night. I want to thank you all for watching this show. Oh, wait. Art Miller says, for fuck's sake is his favorite word. And so everybody's putting their favorite swear word. So we've had a lot of people that have viewed the show that have not come into the chat room. And there are lurkers and our stalkers. And Darren says, fuck is your favorite. No, cunt is my favorite. That's my favorite word. That is my favorite word. I don't take offense to it. Unless you're yelling at me, you know, with that. But if you're just joking, no. So I want to thank you all for watching the Rev Mel Show on TSRnetwork.com, where real people talk about real sex with really kinky people. This has been an awesome, awesome time with you guys. And please tell all your friends about TSR Network. And I want to thank Miss Julie. I want to thank Art Miller, Don Javier, Darren, Entropy, Piggy, and all the other people that came in and out periodically. And all the people that have not come into the chat room, I want to thank you all for watching the Rev Mel Show. It's where we keep on, where Javier is still typing in there. It's where we are changing the world one vanilla at a time. I love you all. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.